In the last video, we talked about Robert Smalls, the man who took a Confederate ship, sailed it right past enemy lines, and handed it over to the Union. Now that was bold. But what if I told y'all that while Robert was working with the Waters, another black freedom fighter was operating from inside the Confederate White House? Let me introduce you to Mary Bowser, a woman whose name should be in every history book. But of course, they tried to erase her. You see, Mary was born enslaved in Richmond, Virginia around 1840. She was owned by the Van Loo family, and now here's where things take a turn. See, Elizabeth Van Loo, the daughter of the family, was secretly anti-slavery. She freed Mary and sent her up north to get an education in Philadelphia. That was a big deal. You see, most black people weren't allowed to read, let alone attend school. But Mary was learning everything they said we couldn't. When the Civil War broke out, Mary came back to Virginia. But even though she was legally free, the South didn't recognize her freedom. She was arrested and treated as property. So Elizabeth Van Loo stepped in with a risky plan. She claimed Mary was still her slave, not because she believed it, but because she was setting up something bigger. That move gave Mary a role and a reason to be inside the Confederate spaces without raising suspicion. Mary posed as a quiet, uneducated house servant and got placed inside Jefferson Davis's home. Yes, the Confederate president's White House. Back then, black women were often overlooked. They were present but ignored, cleaning, serving, staying in the background. And Mary used all of that to her advantage. She had a photographic memory. She sat through meetings, read sensitive documents, and memorized it. Then she passed all that information along to Union forces. She didn't need to steal anything. She just watched, listened, and remembered. And because of the racism around her, nobody suspected a thing. They didn't believe a black woman could understand, much less outsmart them. And that's exactly why she could. When the war ended, Mary disappeared. And honestly, that was probably her intention. She was a spy. She likely changed her name to stay safe. But let's be real. Her story was also hidden on purpose, because people in power didn't want it known that a black woman had played them. They didn't want to admit she was smarter, quicker, and steps ahead, so they left her name completely out of the books. So just like Robert Smalls, Mary Bowser was one of the Union's secret weapons. They didn't fight with rank or recognition. They used strategy, courage, and intelligence to change the course of history. And yet, we don't learn about them in school. Their stories are barely mentioned. Why? Because if you admit that a black woman outsmarted your generals, you have to admit that the system you built wasn't as strong as you thought. That's why history like this gets erased. So Mary Bowser didn't need a weapon. She was the weapon. She used her mind to help bring down the Confederacy. And she did it in silence, right under their noses. So now it's our job to make sure her name is known. If this is your first time hearing about her, make sure it's not your last. Like, comment, and share, because every time we tell the truth, we push back against the erasure. And if you want more stories they never taught us in school, go ahead and hit that subscribe. Let's keep history alive. Peace.